Last week, one of my students told me that she thought it was weird how much Americans like ice. She said that in China, drinks are never served cold and that they almost exclusively serve hot water with meals. But here, if you go into a restaurant, it is usually filled to the brim with ice. Now, I have to admit that this is true. Americans love ice. I love ice. In fact, I love ice so much that I purchased a mini ice maker for my bedroom when I was living with my parents, even though our refrigerator already had an ice maker. But don't get me wrong, I love a hot cup of tea or especially a hot coffee, but for me, there's just something so satisfying about ice. And I've been wondering why. Is this cultural? Is it just me? Because it seems like a lot of other Americans also enjoy ice. So I did some research. And based on my research, it seems that our obsession with ice is both cultural and economic. You see, when colonization began in the United States, the land here was a largely wild and very difficult place to live, and it had an extremely harsh environment. Early Americans took advantage of this environment. They had very cold winters and a lot of water, so what they decided to do was to actually harvest ice and sell it to the rest of the world. And that is how a lot of early American settlers actually made a living. Because the United States had so much ice, the ice industry naturally grew, and businessmen pushed ice into up and coming American cities and started marketing it as something more than just a way to preserve food or medicine. They actually encouraged people to try chilling their drinks with ice, stating that it was a great way to enhance the flavor and stay refreshed throughout the hot, muggy American summer. And if you know anything about the East Coast in particular of the United States, it is a very hot, muggy environment in the summertime. Eventually, scientists came up with a way of creating ice with a machine rather than having to harvest it from nature. And after this happened, ice vendors started to experiment with different sizes and shapes of ice. So if you ever visit the United States, you'll see we have quite a large variety of ice types here. We have shaved, which is a really popular dessert here where I am in Hawaii. So it's shaved ice, and it usually has some sweet toppings on it, very similar to the Korean bingsu. We have cubed ice, crushed ice, globed ice with molds that a big mold that you can put in your freezer to freeze the ice like a ball, almost a big ball that you put in your cup so it melts very slowly. Since Americans were so accustomed to ice, they naturally welcomed freezers into their homes when they were available. And now it's just common here to have a cold drink with dinner, no matter what the temperature or weather is like. And it's expected at restaurants, which of course business owners don't really mind because it saves them money. More ice equals less drink, which means more money in their pocket. Interestingly, Americans love ice so much that a study estimated that Americans consume up to 16 glasses of ice per month, or nearly 36 pounds, which is about 16.3 kilos if you're not following the American system. And that adds up to over 400 pounds or 181.4 kilos of ice per year. That's a lot of ice. In another study of Americans, over half of the responders said that they will not drink water unless it's cold. And 53% said that having no ice available means that they just will drink less water. They just won't drink it. It's no wonder why almost every home in the United States has a refrigerator that can make ice or an ice maker. It's almost like a delicacy or a national dish here, and people definitely have opinions about the best size and shape of ice, its texture, how clear or cloudy it is. If you ever meet an American, you can have a conversation about ice with them, I assure you. I know I have opinions about ice anyway. I prefer crushed ice that's easy to chew, and if crushed isn't possible, then the smaller the ice cube, the better, in my opinion. So next time you're in an American restaurant and you order a drink, just stay chill. I promise we're not trying to rip you off. Loading our cups with ice is just part of our history. That concludes today's podcast. If you're hearing this, it means you made it all the way to the end of the episode, so thank you so much for listening.